Coming from the Bass Pro Shops and Cabela Studio on Music Row, we are the Bobby Bone Show.
That's right.
Hey, we started the show off this morning, a little over an hour ago, talking about a lot of what happened this weekend. If you want to go check the podcast and kind of hear that, it was a little raw, honestly. But the show gets loaded after we get off the air, so you can just search Bobby Bone Show wherever you listen to your podcasts and check that out. I think we all had a lot of emotions after seeing what was happening this weekend. Amy, I was wondering about you. You have two children. How did that go with them, or did they see any of it? How'd you handle that?
They didn't on the news, but it came up at church yesterday. So our pastor led with it, and just, it instantly, I didn't know what the kids were going to do. Obviously, it's a conversation we have to have with the kids anyways, but Ben and I, my husband, were trying to be super thoughtful in how we go about it because we're white and our kids are black. And we have privileges that our kids will never have. And that's been known to us for years. I mean, we had to do adoption training. Our friend Charlemagne was very candid with us. He even came on the Bobby Bone Show and was like, hey, listen, this is a real thing. You need to make sure that you are all hands on deck with this. And, we've had the kids for 2 years, and to be totally honest, I've kind of been avoiding that because I was like, well, they're younger, we'll address it later. But yeah, they're going to start seeing things on the news, but also at church where, maybe they wouldn't necessarily be exposed to certain conversations, but I think we're at a place where you can't ignore anything. And they started asking questions right away. Church is on YouTube live, so we were able to pause it. And that's what we had to do a couple of times, was pause and take their questions. And, once we started to explain some stuff to them of what's going on and how they will get treated differently, Stevenson, my son, just said, wait a second. And he put his hands in the air with this great proclamation. And he's like, this doesn't make sense to me. God made us all the same. And then he just looked at us for an answer and an answer to his confusion. And, I just was like, God, he's so right. And how pure he is as a child. And how I want that to be the case, that everybody sees that yeah, we really are all the same. It broke my heart right away for him. I had to leave the room to go to the bed. Tears were there, but I didn't want him to see me crying to cause even more conversation around that. But it's a real thing, and it's a real thing in my house because, yes, my kids are black, but I would challenge listeners, no matter what ethnicity of house that you're in, the conversation starts at home. And I feel like as parents, we have such a responsibility to make sure that we're fully educated. And I come to a place where I have so much learning to do. I mean, this weekend I ordered all the books and started following certain accounts on Instagram. I started unfollowing certain accounts on Instagram. I started cleaning up, where am I getting my information? And then how do I want to translate that to my family? And that's where it starts, is in the home. And I get that not everybody has that opportunity to have people speak into their lives at home. But if you're a parent listening like me and you do have an opportunity to speak into your kids, start talking to them about what really matters. And it's not a conversation of, we don't see color, or we're not racist, we don't see color, because that's not the way to teach it. Because the truth is, we do see color, and my kids will get treated very differently than me because they are black and I am white, and I can't ignore that fact. And so in our house, we took a long, hard look this weekend of how we want to be. And it's okay, whoa. And this is new to us. I'm not coming to you as an expert. I'm coming to you as someone that is showing you it's never too late to learn. Ever. Ever. I say that at 39 years old. I feel like I'm going to go into my 40s wiser than I ever was before. And Bobby even shared this earlier this morning of we'll never know what it feels like for what Black people feel, or insert any other race. I feel I'm a privileged white girl. And I don't know what it feels like. I don't know what Stashira's going to feel like when she grows up. She had such confusion after church, and she's 13. And I thought, oh, and I don't know what Stevenson's going to experience. And I want to protect them from that. But the best thing I can do as their parent is to do better starting now, educate myself, and be a voice and an encouragement to others that it's never too late to unlearn something that you've been taught that might be wrong, or to continue to take steps in the right direction to be better and look at what it means to be anti-racist versus just not racist. I'm not racist. Like, what is that? What does it look like? And that's my challenge to any parents that are listening. And that's what I feel in my heart is my role as a mom and as a co-host on this show right now.
That's very powerful. I think.
Sorry.
No, I love it. Are you kidding? That's what we do. Like I mentioned earlier, we don't do a great radio show. We try to do a really good human show. And at times that's going to be a bit sloppy like it is now. And you're going to hear and feel raw emotions like you're hearing now. I think for me, as someone who grew up in a town that was split, I mentioned it earlier, black guys, white guys, we played on the same football team. They were my best friends, and then we would go play another school. It would be all white kids, and they would just throw the N-word out like crazy. And that's when I realized I would never understand. But even for me, instead of unlearning things, I have to relearn things, right?
Right.
I have to relearn and reset myself and remember a lot of those thoughts. I had light exposure, not living it. I didn't live it. I'll never know. But, even asking people who do know to communicate their feelings to you, that is a big step. And also stop assuming that you know. Because a lot of people, you don't. I don't. But I think that what's happening, the reason, the message, it's resonating like never before.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm absolutely here for it.
That's what's so powerful to me is something just feels different. And I hope that, I hope that, but also I see it. Like it's undeniable. So yeah, it's just not enough to, and I want to clarify too, I don't mean any harm by saying if you tell your kids, I feel like to not see color, because I feel like a lot of us were raised that way. And I just want us to have a lot of grace for each other. That wasn't me calling anybody out. Like, that's not a good way to parent. Like, because, again, I'm not on a high horse here. I'm just saying we have to teach our kids to see color so that they know there is a difference and that there is inequality. Because if you just kind of think, oh, well, or if you raise your kids to think that there is no color, and I get the sentiment behind that. Like, I understand why that's a safe way to talk to your kids about it. But we also need to be very real about it. And in order to ignite the change, you have to be honest with that. We do see color.
I think the sentiment is that we should treat everybody the same. But just looking at it practically, the pragmatic approach is that even if you're treating them the same, not everybody else is too. It can be whomever it is. And for whatever reason. But right now we're talking about what's happening in our world with race relations.
Right. It's ignoring the fact that someone was treated a certain way, or multiple people. Like, yes, there are certain names in the news right now where that's like drawn a lot of the attention, but there's so many people that don't even ever make the news, or maybe it wasn't even filmed on body cams. Like, Will Smith put out a statement too. He's like, racism isn't getting worse. Racism is getting filmed.
Right.
And so there's so many accounts where we don't even know. And yeah, it happened to them because someone saw color. Someone saw, so we can't ignore the fact that people should just not see color. And it's sad. I want better for my kids. I want better for the future. I want better and it could start now. And so I think I'm glad we're having the conversation, and I appreciate you, Bobby, leading us in that here on the show. And I know what kind of people we are, and I hope our listeners know that. And I hope that we have a lot of patience and grace and understanding that a lot of people are, if they're feeling what we're feeling right now, the shift, that they will take action and that we can all do better. But don't judge another person from where they are in their journey.
And have understanding that you don't have to understand. You just have to crawl forward.
Right. And some of us are one step at a time. Some people are able to make a leap and be like, oh, okay, I'm here. And then others may be taking a step. Well, okay, let's congratulate them on that step in the right direction. I guess I'm just want clarity for our listeners of where we stand. And we stand on the right side of justice, like for sure. We want justice for people. But we're all doing things and speak about things in our own time. And we shouldn't be faulted for, but again, you even had to clarify earlier, like I don't want to in any way come across as any kind of victim because of things people might be saying to us online. That's not the case. I just want people to have grace.
I want people to also feel like they can start expressing themselves whenever they want without feeling pressure to do it too slow, too early, too late. Just do it when you want to do it and don't worry about what anybody else is saying.
Right.
That's what we've had to do.
Exactly.
So don't worry about it. You
Yeah.
express yourself how you want to express yourself. The only person you have to see every day, for
Is
sure,
yourself.
is you. Mm-hmm. Is you. So, well.
And then it gives people the courage if you don't judge them, because like I stand before you right now as someone who speaks on the radio 5 days a week. Well, I guess some weekends too. And like to talk about this, like I'm sitting here, like I'm talking to Bobby, one of my best friends who I've been across the microphone from for 14 years, but I'm shaking. And I'm like, why should I be shaking talking to my friends in a platform that is safe for me? Like I don't feel safe because of judgment of like me being a white mom and raising Black kids and not really knowing the right way to do it and what I'm doing, or that I didn't do something soon enough. I mean, come on. The point is that I feel at this point, if you're an old listener or whether you're a new listener, you need to know our heart and that it's in the right place and we're all doing our best.
All right. With that, we'll take a breath. We'll play a song. We'll do more of the show. Listen, this is what we do on our show. If you're new to the show, it's like this sometimes. Whenever things aren't going great, we don't act like they are. But we'll do some fun segments coming up. All right, let's do John Party, Dirt on My Boots here, Bobby Bones Show.